friends, and greetings for the day. Welcome to another episode of our technical talks on testing. And today we'll be talking about the emergence of Agile, where we have been understanding that Agile is a methodology which has been trending, but we would like to understand what makes it different and unique from the traditional approaches, and how exactly the Agile has that benefit or has the characteristics which certainly makes it unique and different from all other traditional approaches. At the same time, what are the key characteristics which makes an agile as agile, right? So the story kind of begins with understanding on what made the process to come up. Was that we were not happy with the waterfall or V model and many other traditional approaches which we had. In fact, we were happy. It's not that it was not happening at all. It was more of like we could have done better with those methodologies at that particular point of time. And the most important thing here we tried understanding was there were several drawbacks which people slowly started observing and understanding that it could have been better. For an example, we used to wait a lot to write comprehensive documentations. We used to prepare heavy reports, heavy documentation, which in fact did not have the very first glimpse of the product at all for at least 6 to 9 months, right? Even if you talk about designing, you're talking about development, you took almost 6 months of time to build that particular first piece of code and start talking about it. In fact, the customer was curious to know. If you're talking about today, forget about traditional days. Today, if you're talking about buying a new product, you can't wait to afford it. You can't wait to go ahead and buy it and purchase it and bring it at home, right? You very eagerly wait for that product to be in your hand, in your personal use, and start using it. Now that was the time when the customer also felt similarly that, where is my product? Can I have a look of at least getting it built up? Is that really being built up as per my expectations? Forget about the verification part, forget about the validations. At least they wanted to see how it's getting built up, right? At least it was assuring the customer that, hey, this is what we are doing. But we did not have a provision as per the methodology that we could have shown them. We said, this is our internal process. Even if we try showcasing you to something, you may not be able to understand. You don't understand the design part, you don't understand the programming skills. And I'm talking about 20 years, 30 years ago from now, when actually customer didn't know much about technology. But today, when we understood that a customer is not so different from what we are, that's where we understood that a customer can be invited to watch his pizza getting built in front of him, right? So the point here is what actually happened and how we thought about Agile and what Agile has given us back. So the journey was all about, for an example, if I'm talking about one of my instance, one of my friend called me back from UK and said that, you know what, Neeraj, I know you have a software development company and we are looking forward to, build some application. In fact, it's been a long time, so I have got some savings or some money with me, which I would like to invest in India back. And this friend of mine, he said that he has some idea of developing an application. I said, sure, I think I can, this is what I do and I can help you, right? And this friend of mine started telling me some outline, because I asked him to say that, go ahead and tell me what exactly your idea is. Let's see what we can do about it, right? So my friend started explaining me some of the inputs. For example, he told me that I'm looking forward to have an application which can deliver food to the doorstep, considering the pandemic has gone to a certain extent, but people still continue to work from home, and working from home, you are working more than the desired number of hours. So hardly you get some time to step out and get some food. If in case you're staying alone, that would be another challenge. So we want to help all these people and professionals who are busy with their work, committed, but do not have enough time to go out and pick up some food for themselves. So I said, yeah, sounds really interesting. What's the plan? They said, yeah, there will be 3 major users of this particular application. One is the customer, second is the hotel who will be, preparing the order, and a third person picking up the order and delivering to the doorstep. I said, sounds great. I can't wait to get started. So he asked me, okay, what all do you need to get started? I said, hey, you know what? I'll first pick up all your requirements, waste my 2 months of time writing it in a very formal way, okay, so that I can be sure about what I have to build. On top of it, once I'm done with the requirements, clarification and detailed mentioning of it, I'll start building up the detailed design for the entire application, end to end. My friend slightly got confused here. He said, you know what? Why don't we just get started with some minimum thing, that MVP part of the application where we can at least see how the product is actually working. And I'm sure there are a lot of things which I would like to implement, but I don't want to put that all together. I may have $100,000 with me, but does not mean I'll invest all $100,000 at a time and take a big risk. I said, yeah, that's also good. What should I do in that case? He said, see, if you can just probably build up something and showcase to me so that even I can help you or guide you. Why don't you work like pizza stations who allow you to see your pizza being, baked? I said, that looks good, but you know what? My process is called as Waterfall model, and it does not allow you to interfere in between what we do. In fact, even if I show you, I will not take any of your changes as a request because we are Waterfall. And on that note, he mentioned, oh, you don't take changes if in case I find an anomaly? All right, you know what? Until and such is developed, there's nothing called as anomaly. Okay, requirements are given by you. We're just designing, we will build it up, we will implement the code, and then we'll come to testing, and then we'll talk to you. Is this your product? He said, what if you build something completely different than what I was expecting? And then we thought, yeah, sounds like a drawback. Can we do something about it? The friend says, yeah, I think, why not? Why not you go ahead and showcase to me that what are you building up? Okay, on a short iteration, don't take everything at a time. Take smallest piece of requirement, maybe a page, maybe a particular functionality, maybe a particular flow, business flow, and just implement that. Take the shortest possible time which you can take to implement it with minimum features, and let's have a look. Let's review it together. If it works fine, it looks good, that's good. But if in case not, you're still working on the same parameters, you can quickly update them. And it's not that I'll keep you, empty with no work planned for future. I'll keep giving you something in advance so that you're well aligned for the next few months. Okay? But at least my participation here would give me a better understanding of what are you building, because there could be a human communication gap. And we understood this point pretty well and bought this as very first characteristics of Agile, that customer and developer works together. We work simultaneously, no matter what you're talking about. You're talking about sprint planning, you're talking about retrospectives, maybe you're talking about your demonstrations. Customers are there with you. Backlog grooming, where of course customers should participate and give you all that inputs what you really need to have in order to make a product look as per the expectations. Another important parameter we understood here was that the friend had to wait, if I was following Waterfall, had to wait for at least 9 to 10 months to get his first look of the product. And until then, it was completely under the curtains, behind the curtains, that what exactly it will look like. And by then, the end of the year, some more other competitors already built the application and released into the market. And they did not bother about full requirements. Now look at E. Look at this kind of thing. When you talk about the company A, who thought I'll make a wonderful product in 1 year and release it to the market, and company B, who thought I'm not going to make the big product, let me give the minimum possible thing with 10 restaurants to place the order and get whatever they can get at home. In fact, I did not target the entire country. The company B did not target the entire country. They started with few cities. Few particular cities, and they just rolled out the tool in 3 months of time. Now the point is, by the time the company's A product was still under designing phase, the company B product started getting hashtag so and so. That means started building a popularity, started building a fan following, people started evaluating their product and giving ratings back to them. By the time this guy completed the testing, etc., or implementation, which is another 6 months, right? By the end of 6 months, this person took over 3 more cities with their product, along with some good updates. They started adding more restaurants, they started adding more menu items, they started giving people to place an order once again if you have placed that in your past. They started adding more features in the next 3 months, and these guys were still building up design and implementing the new core. By the time the product got ready, you know what exactly happened here, right? The company B was leading the market in the same concept with the same features what company A completed by the end of the year. But here you already had 1 million followers, and here they said, you know what, there's a new product in the market which is copy of company B. That's it. This is what was happening 10 years ago. A decade ago, this is what started happening with the customers when they came up with the waterfall or V model as a methodology to release their product. The world became very competitive. The world had so fast trending, changing things. The transformation which has happened in that particular period of 5 years, 10 years ago, right? That time, the world was changing and transforming from one particular era to another era. Talking about mobile applications, talking about digitizations, and talking about competitive world. 20, 30 years, 40 years ago, 1 or 2 people had some idea and we used to fight to achieve that. Today, every single city, every single person has one or the other idea, and every individual wants to start a startup. Now, will that be following waterfall? No. Again, we are not talking about it as a challenging process. We are not letting you understand that waterfall was good for nothing. It had its own understanding. Remember another thing, that Agile is expensive than waterfall because it accepts your frequent changes. It allows you to modify your expectations. It allows you to review your work product which is being built and suggest if you don't like it. But waterfall comparatively is cheaper because it does not give you that opportunity. The features are less, thus it is cheaper as well. And what if the customer says, I'm still from an e-commerce background and I don't know anything about what is programming, what is coding, what's technology. Can you still help me to build the product? Yes. I'm not saying waterfall is gone. It's just that I cannot charge you a lot and you don't want to participate, but still I can help you to build an application because waterfall exists. So point is, the fight here is not between who is better, what is existing, what is not. To tell you that Agile is a methodology which is trending in the market today with its characteristics which the world is looking forward to. Okay, the world likes it because this is what is the era today. But waterfall is just slightly outdated but still not gone out of market. It does not mean waterfall is good for nothing. It has its own ability, it has its own characteristics, and still where the customer cannot afford that expensive project of Agile, they still go with waterfall. And at the same time, if they could save some of the interactions, cost, and they are fine with time-based things. For example, company internal products. If I'm making something internally for my company, I'm not letting it go to the market, then I don't have a problem if I can save some money. So I still go with waterfall, right? So this was a quick comparison to understand that what makes waterfall or V model being a traditional model of software development different from Agile methodology. And Agile has its own set of characteristics. Similarly, if we talk about the sprint planning or talking about the backlog grooming sessions or building up a backlog was another challenge which we observed in the traditional model. Team used to probably stay connected to a certain extent. Most of the time we observed that the model did not let the team members coordinate for any reason. We only used to coordinate when we had the bugs, especially about testing when you talk about. Otherwise, you never know who is your team member, who's the architect working on the project, who is the developer working on the project. You hardly know people. I still remember one of my friend's statement when I said that, do you know this guy? He works in your company as one of my friend. The other friend told me, never seen him before. Are you working in the same building? He says, yeah, third floor. And the other friend said, yeah, I work on fifth floor. This is how people used to introduce themselves when they used to work 10 years ago. Because in the same building, and then they realize after those conversations that which project are you working on? And we realize that they both work for the same project. Same project, same building, different floors, they don't know each other. Right? But Agile, have we heard anything like that? No. Everything is very transparent. We kept people aware of what's happening. Do you have the bandwidth? Pick up something new. Help your team member. Understand what's going on. If you see anything critically happening, try to mitigate it together. Right? It's not responsibility of one person, or it's just not responsibility of kind of like, somebody should take it up. If you think you have any knowledge about it, if you think you can tackle it, go ahead, pick it up. Or if you see someone of your team member is stuck with something, you immediately jump there and step in and help them to overcome those barriers, is what Agile is. So transparency was another important thing which I really liked about Agile, and would like to appreciate that the methodology helped people to coordinate, collaborate, communicate, and be aware of what needs attention, right? And time boxing let people fix that every particular XYZ duration, right? X duration, or could be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of time. We'll show you something what we have done. Just like a timeline. And another important thing which I would like to tell you here, imagine you doing graduation, be it any degree, right? Let's talk about engineering. Imagine somebody giving you 64 subjects and 4 years of time to prepare well and write the examination. You can't even imagine it, right? If I feel, I think I wouldn't have made it ever. 64 subjects, 4 years, and you have to write all 64 examination at the end of 4th year. Come on, man, we won't have engineers at all working or getting graduated, first of all. Then what we said? We said, break it. Let's not pressurize people like Waterfall, giving all the requirements at a time, and they get involved, they get confused, and finally the product is delivered what you don't want. At Agile, we said, let's break this engineering of 4 years into 8 semesters. Right? 8 equal semesters, and break those 64 subjects into 8 semesters. So now what happened here is you got 8 subjects per semesters, right? And you got 6 subjects theory, 2 practicals. You finish it off in 6 months, go to the next, milestone achieved. Second semester, you get new 8 subjects, finish it off, like learn it, you write the examinations, clear, go to the semester 3. Isn't it that we are working on Agile from a long time? To a certain extent, it tells you that you were a part of Agile, and these practices have been followed for a long time. So Agile is nothing new. Agile is nothing new. The secret of it is that we took time to realize that it can also be applied to the software development models. Time boxing, short iterations, backlogs, right, was all there from a long time. Engineering did not start today. It started long back. Graduation did not start today. Academics did not start today. So the principle, the philosophy was already existing. It just took us a while to understand that this can also be applied to our development process, right? And finally, the moment, late but not the least, you realized it, you applied it, and people said, wow, that sounds exactly the same what we have been doing for our graduation so far. So you did not feel any kind of change, right? Because if you come from a graduation like semester by semester, and suddenly you go for Waterfall where you work on a project for 2 years and you are dealing with 100% requirement at a time, you will get puzzled, you will have defects, and you will be able to leak defects even if you are a good tester. So the point here is, again, nothing to discriminate about different methodology. We are trying to understand why Agile is better. That's it, right? I hope you all got a very good understanding of how exactly traditional models are different from Agile and what makes Agile as Agile, and certainly adds a lot of characteristics about the ability of making Agile a trending one. Of course, it's not that Agile is still at its best. There are a lot of rooms for the improvement, and we will talk about in other discussions about the same, that what can be done better in Agile. If you got some ideas, drop them in the comment below. We'll be looking forward to talk about it and give you some more information about the same. So that's all from this particular technical episode, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.